You're listening to Bush Radio. Bush Radio.
Your real talk radio.
Reading is feeding the mind. When he feeds his mind, his body is happy and he is rich. Feed the mind. Go to www.udarabooks.com. Udara Books, feeding the mind.
State Affairs with Edmund Obilo is live.
It's about insecurity in your state. Oladokun Olaniran is with me on State Affairs. He is the convener, Igangan Development Advocate. It's good to have you on State Affairs.
It's a great pleasure to be with you, Sir Edmund. I would like to call you that.
Thank you. The story you told me on the phone is scary and disturbing. What's happening to your people?
We've been living in a form of a nightmare for a while now, for quite a while. We thought it will end. We thought the end is in sight, but it seems the end is not in sight. So we have to cry out. We have to seek for help. Security should be a joint responsibility. So when we think the government will rise to our help and it's not forthcoming, we just have to arise. Carnage has been going on, dispensed fully by some sect of Fulani elders who I believe are on the intent of taking over the land.
What land?
Taking over our agricultural space.
Where?
In Ibarapa, not Igangan. In Ibarapa, not. In Ibarapa, generally, this menace has been on for a while. But the hot zone has been Ibarapa North. The hottest zone has been Igangan.
What makes Igangan the hottest zone?
I really can't pinpoint, but I believe by intuition that the geographical location of Igangan is so strategic.
Tell me.
Okay, if you know how to ply your route very well, you can actually transverse Igangan to cross the border. And so if you are bringing in arms, that's a very good location for you to have your sales. And of course, we've been seeing manifestation of arms dealing. Fulani now carries AK-47 in broad daylight in Igangan. It will surprise you, sir.
Broad daylight?
Yes. They come out for kidnapping. So at routine times, at certain times, they just choose to I guess we need some money, and they come out. They at first they were picking on the rich and the well-to-do. We have one of our elder brother who owned a petrol station, Oloshun. Was picked up in front of his fuel station there, right there. And I think on that day, the Fulani guys that came out of the bush to take him, to kidnap him, not take him, carried nothing less than 15 AK-47s.
How many were there?
There were up to 16 that came out. Others were in the bush.
When you say Fulani, how?
Of course, we recognize them by distinction, by phenotypic facial distinction, and by their expression. We know these are different. These are Fulani. On that day, they were not covering up. They were not masked. And it's been a repeated thing. I think just before the year ends, we had about nothing less than 3 other cases of kidnapping. And that is just kidnapping. We have brutal murders too.
Recently, a farmer was killed in Ibarapa.
Yes, the same town, Igangan. In fact, I can I can tell you specifically that Dr. Fataya Borode's farm, the person who was killed recently, was not far away from my father's farm, which is presently a farm that me and my other brothers occupy presently. And in fact, I can tell you that we too have been practically driven out of that farming space.
You have been driven out.
Indirectly driven out.
You have abandoned the farm.
We are making efforts to plow, to continue, but we are eating losses by the fact that whatever we produce will be food for cows. And now, if you are not very bold, knowing fully well that a societal juggernaut like Dr. Fataya Bode was just slaughtered like that, very close to your farm, how will you feel going to farm the next day?
Yes. I'm discussing with Oladokun Oladiran, convener, Igangan Development Advocate. I also have in the studio Adedeji Adiolu, the Vice President of the group. Adedeji, what's happening in Igangan?
Well, to my best of knowledge, since I was a small boy, this has been happening, but we didn't know it's going to come to this end. And from the look of things, if care is not taken and appropriate cautions is not put in place, our own hand might be running into a serious disaster.
Now tell me, who are the Fulanis in Igangan? Are they cattle rearers? Are they kidnappers? Are there various kinds of Fulanis? Tell me, what is the community like?
Well, in Igangan and Ibarapa as a whole, Fulani has been cattle rearer. We've known them for a while. But I think because of what is happening in the country, they've seen kidnapping as a means of getting funds for themselves. That reason why kidnapping has been the high rate in the area. And before the kidnapping actually started as a real job for them, there's been serious attack on our people. And because
serious attack, have women been raped?
Yes.
Let's be clear.
There have been cases of rape. There's been cases of attack on farmers. There are some people that they've actually caught their hand. Some people have been butchered, killed. And because of the distance to Ibadan, and there's been a bridge in gap between the people and the government. And that reason why people can't carry arms themselves. They really want the government to come and intervene.
All right, let's speak to Shola. Shola is here. Shola, you are the Secretary General.
Yes, sir.
Are Igangan people running away from their farms?
Yes, of course. Because the fear imposed by these herdsmen, it has been the things of even many people abandon their farms land now.
Now, I heard that if people abandon their farms,
yes,
the Fulani people come take it over. Is that what's going on?
Yes. And people have to run away for their lives.
Have you spoken to the local government chairman?
As far as the local government chairman is, and other stakeholders, not just the local government, even the chieftains, I have to be blunt. I think they are helpless. I think in Yoruba, they say the fowl is sweating, but the feathers seems to overweigh the feasibility of the sweat. So in their own capacity, they've tried, they've had dialogues, they've organized town hall meetings to quench this wildfire from raging on. But the Fulani leader seems to have grown so bold in audacity. I can tell you categorically that and there was a certain time, reportedly, in one of those peace meeting of how we can coexist peacefully, one of the Fulani threatened that if a cow should die, then they will ensure that the whole Igangan town is totally massacred.
He said that?
Yes.
In a meeting?
Yes, and when that was reported, it was reported as if, look at what they said, so we can't, there's nothing we can do from a stakeholder.
Everybody's helpless.
They are totally helpless.
The traditional rulers in the town?
The traditional rulers it seems to have, let me put it this way, recognize them as superior powers. Some of the chieftains are now seeing the leaders of this Fulani as even more superior powers. And, we have this thing with people that we believe are higher in power, in authority, we tends to say that let's just coexist with them because they are powerful. So, and we give it a title, tolerance and forbearance, and that's what has been preached for a while now.
I'm discussing with young Nigerians. They are from Igangan in Ibarapa. They are worried. They are worried. I can feel their pain. I can see their eyes. They are shaken. Are you listening to the story? What do you have to say? Let's open the phone lines. Hit the nail on the head. Insecurity. Igangan is afraid to go to farm. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Edmund. Yeah, I'm Shegun Adetu. I'm calling from Bodija. I listened to the plight of those guys, those young men in the studio. I felt bad. I can't really understand what is happening in this country. How do we become alien in our own land? This is embarrassing. It's a slap on our face. How will they come here and become terror on our nerves? The government should come up and do something about this. This is becoming nonsense. This is how Boko Haram started. Enough of all this. Please, something must be done. Thank you so much.
Philip Akpoduado Edema is on Facebook. He says the governor must deploy all the necessary intelligence to combat these criminals. No need for grammar and petty discussions. Igangan refuses to go to farm. Igangan is afraid to go to farm. When you say women have been raped, that people have been slaughtered, tell me more.
What I mean by that is, we can say recently for ourselves, it's not a rumor anymore. The prominent son of the soil was killed, was butchered like a cow on his way back from his farm. These are philanthropists. These are people who plant in hectares, who grows in hectares. And we are talking the way forward in this country is to go by agriculture. I myself, I want to go back home to go and start something on farm. But if I tell my people, I want to plant this, I want to plant that, they will tell me, guy, you can't do this because the cow will finish everything. So people are afraid to venture into agriculture. People are afraid to die. And there are evidences, victims are on ground to testify to what we are saying.
Let's bring in two of them first, then we'll bring in the others as we go. Let's hear from them. The program is State Affairs. Oladokun Oladiran, convener Igangan Development Advocate, is here. And we also have Adeagbo Taiwo, Akọ̀wé Àgbẹ̀. Here.
Adeagbo Taiwo, lórúkọ mi Akọ̀wé Àgbẹ̀. Àwọn nǹkan tí ó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní wípé láti bí ọdún bíi 13 sẹ́yìn ni wàhálà yìí ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ìgbà tó dẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ mo lọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ gbogbo àwọn lọ́balọ́ba. Problem yìí òun nìyí, problem ìṣòro nìyí. So ṣùgbọ́n ìṣòro tí a ní ni wípé ẹni ó jẹ́ Sẹ́ríkì Fúlàní Igangan ló wà. Ẹni ó jẹ́ Sẹ́ríkì Bororo Igangan ló wà. Sẹ́ríkì Hausa Igangan ló wà. So àwọn èèyàn yìí di terrorist sí wa lọ́rùn.
So what he's saying is that the leadership, which we know as Sẹ́ríkì of the Fulani, seems to fall on the shoulders of the Fulani residing in Igangan. In fact, I think the entire leadership of the Fulani in Oyo State, the person who bears that title resides in this location.
So what did he say is the implication of that?
The implication of that is that the power they now wield has made them to become terrorists to the land.
So when he says terrorists, can he give us examples of those terrorist actions?
Àwọn àpẹẹrẹ wọn ni pé fúnra rẹ̀ ló ń kó àwọn Fúlàní ìwọlé àwọn Bororo láti orílẹ̀-èdè mìíràn tó sì jẹ́ pé àwọn ẹ̀rí rẹ̀ wà. Fúnra mi máa lọ ṣáàtà mọ́tò tí máa gbé àwọn fìgìláńtì ọlọ́pàá tí máa lọ kó wọn. Abade police station wá ní tó Sẹ́ríkì tí ní kí wọ́n fún wọn lẹ̀ o.
So what he's saying is that because of his influence, he's been able to bring in Fulani and Bororos from different regions to settle in that in our land upon that location. And if he, as a farmer secretary, tried to intervene, on many occasions the security apparatus of the state will tell him to go and sit down. The Sẹ́ríkì has, settled the whole matter. They are allowed to occupy the land.
So what are some of the violent experiences they have seen as farmers?
Àwọn Fúlàní ilé tí a rò yí pé ọ̀rẹ́ wa ni wọ́n ṣiṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú àwọn Bororo wọ̀nyí, wọ́n jiyàn gbé. Pípa àwọn ènìyàn ní orí oko, àwọn tí èmi fúnra mi ti fi ẹsẹ̀ mi yìí gbé lọ sí hospital ní Olúgbọ́n tí wọ́n dẹ̀ kú síbẹ̀ kì í ṣe 10 kì í ṣe 15 tí a dẹ̀ sin òkú wọn pẹ̀lú fọ́tò wọn. Gbogbo wọn pátápátá ló sì jẹ́ pé àwọn community leaders máa dé ọ̀dọ̀ wọn nǹkan báyìí ló tún ṣẹlẹ̀ o. So àwọn ènìyàn wọ̀nyí wọ́n wá ti di ọ̀daràn pátápátá sí wa lọ́rùn débi wípé àwọn àgbẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ lọ sí orí oko láìpẹ́ wọ́n kàn lọ wọ́n lọ gé ọwọ́ ọkùnrin kan wọ́n gé ọwọ́ obìnrin wọ́n gé ọwọ́ obìnrin yẹn so nínú oko torí pé wọ́n fẹ́ bá a sùn kọ́ gbà. So nígbà tá a máa fi débẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ kejì wọ́n ṣàkẹ́rù wọ́n sá lọ. So mo fi tó àwọn bàbá wa létí gbogbo àwọn tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ yìí ẹni bàbá wa kábíyèsí kú bàbá yèyí Aláàfin Ṣàbígànná onídèrè ti ìlú Dèrè Ibarapa Council of Obas and Oyo State Government.
What he's saying is that they've unleashed terror upon the land. In summary, he has carried nothing less than 10-20 people out of their farms, injured and wounded, and some of these people later in the hospital gave up the ghost. The cases were reported, but nothing was done. Reported to the chieftains, reported to the security apparatus, nothing has been forthcoming. And I think, sir, if I can, by intuition, put in here, a victim of one of such attack on his farm is present with us too. At this junction, he can narrate his ordeal.
All right, Mr. Akintola Olushola, tell us your story.
Orúkọ tèmi lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ni Akintola Olushola. Wàhálà tí mo ti ń kojú lórí iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ lórí oko pẹ̀lú àwọn Fúlàní Bororo yìí ó ti fẹ́ gba ẹ̀mí mi. Because ọ̀kan ṣẹlẹ̀ ní 2015 December time mo wà lórí oko àwọn harvest ìgbàdo ẹlẹ́yin fẹ́ jẹ pòpòrò mo ní kàn jẹ́ ká oko tán. Immediately ta kó lóko ìgbàdo ta ṣẹ̀ sínú àká tó ń lọ bí tọ́n méjì tọ́n mẹ́wàá tọ́n méjì ìgbà tó máa di àárọ̀ ọjọ́ kejì tá a débẹ̀ padà wọ́n ti finá sí gbogbo ìgbàdo yẹn tó ti jóná even gan fọ́tò ẹ̀ wà lọ́wọ́ mi àwọn àpẹẹrẹ ẹ̀ wà lọ́wọ́ mi.
What he's saying is, I think he's speaking you want to pick it as a climax.
Okay.
The first was the plunder or the setting ablaze of his affairs. And one of those days, they approached him that after the affairs they left over, they want to graze upon it. And he said, okay, no problem. After I finish my affairs, you can graze upon. Now he stored the affairs in a barn, and they came overnight and set the barn on fire. And that's a huge loss to him. That's just on the farm economic side. He was also attacked on his farm. So, eba esoro nípa bí wọ́n ṣe
2018 October 15 mo wà lórí oko à ń tu pákí adẹ̀kó mọ́tò lọ tí mọ́tò pọ̀ àwọn mọ́tò yẹn tu pákí wálé àtù yẹn tán dé stage kan mọ́tò lè kó pákí tó kù mo wá dúró lóko pé kí mọ́tò mi padà wá kó èyí tó kù bó ṣe wà lóko tó dìrọ̀lẹ́ bíi 4:30 báwọn Fúlàní ṣe da màálù dé nìyẹn ẹ má dé àárín oko mẹ́yẹn pákí kún bẹ́ẹ̀ tá a fẹ́ ṣe tá a fẹ́ kó lọ mọ́tò ni mo ń dóde wọ́n ní kò sí ohun tọ́jọ́ pé àwọn jẹ pákí yẹn báwo lè ṣe fẹ́ jẹ pákí èmi nìkan náà ló dẹ̀kun lóko ẹ má jẹ pákí tí mo wí báyìí wọ́n fadà yọ ni èmi nìkan tí mo wà ń bẹ̀ ìgbà tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣàmì lẹ́yìn àdá ṣàmì nídà but Ọlọ́run ṣá gba gbogbo ògo gbà wọ́n rí i pé ẹ̀mí mi ò bọ́ so wọ́n wá lọ yọ sẹ̀ńdá pẹ̀lú kí wọ́n fi lá orí mi so that ìgbà tí wọ́n rí padà yín ọ̀ràn pé sẹ̀ńdá yẹn tó bá ti bá mi lórí pé màá lè give up but gbogbo wọ́n ṣe ń try láti fi nà mí lórí ọwọ́ yìí tí mo fi guide sẹ̀ńdá yẹn báyìí ọwọ́ yìí kan ni so mo rọ̀ọ̀chì wálé lọ́jọ́ yẹn ìgbà tí máa délé ní station mo lọ report wọ́n ní kí n kọ́kọ́ lọ treat ara mi the following day àrígbésẹ̀ kan so mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí competition lọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn ọlọ́pàá.
What he has just narrated is that he was harvesting as usual, and these herds of cattle approached and asked to feed upon his farm. And he said, okay, you can feed upon those places I've harvested. He was harvesting cassava. He said he brought about 5 trucks to take the cassava harvest home. So some of the truckers have left. So he was the only one remaining in the farm. So they requested to feed on the remaining part that has not been harvested. He said no, they should feed on the part that has been harvested. They refused, and they started grazing upon the part that they have uprooted. They've uprooted the cassava, but they've not, load the cassava into the truck. So he was a little bit resistant that, no, don't feed on my cassavas. And they attacked him. So he was macheted. He was brutalized, and by the virtue of his, let's say, providence, his life was spared. And then when they noticed that he was not giving up the ghost, they started using this special stick which they use as cattle rearers. They started using the stick on him, trying to hit him on the skull, so as to congeal him to death. And he was using his hand to block. That same hand was totally crushed. So it takes the intervention of God for that hand to still be useful for him today. And he reported this case to the police, even up to the, I think, area commander. And the long and short has been that it dragged on and on. There was no justice served till today. He knew the person that orchestrated the attack on him. I think if you ask him the name of the person, he knew the person. He knew who the herders belonged to, the cattle belonged to. And so he was able to pinpoint and say, this is the person that attacked me on the farm. And for the police to pick him up, they could not. That is how powerful the Fulani have grown.
All right. The lines are open. What do you think?
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
This is Ibrahim from Apata.
All right, Ibrahim.
Thank you for bringing this up. I think this is happening to all the states in this country, because we are states of many nations. I can see all these train stations that they built for us now, the new ones. You can see all the cows in all the terrain of those states now. I think the time. It is Western security nation outfit of Nigeria street. Let them move these people back. All our Western governors, they need to work on, let's know how many people are in our state, how many other tribes are in our state that are not Westerners. Let's know what they are doing. It's not just putting people together, go and collecting names. NIN is another issue entirely. National ID card, another issue. Voter card, another issue entirely. We are not having security. Our lives are, it's only God that is saving us now.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Happy New Year.
Same to
Mr.
you.
Edmund. This is Glorious from University of Ibadan.
Good to have you.
Yeah. I'm a son of the soil. I'm from Narrate in Ibarapa. So we have Ibarapa Mejeje. Let's all come together. They should not conquer us. Having been Ilorin was big as Ibadan, they won't be able to take Ilorin from Yoruba land. So they are coming through Ibarapa. They want to attack our land. Let the Obas, they should come together. They can't win. How many of them? What's their population on Ibarapa? They can't kill us. Let us fight it and win it. Thank you.
All right. But again, I hope we are looking at the criminal dimension of what is going on. Even the same bandits are killing Fulanis in Zamfara, in Katsina, in Adamawa, in Borno, in Kaduna, in Benue. Is it just about the Fulani? Is it about some criminals who are Fulanis creating problem for the Fulani and the Nigerian state? Where did we get it wrong? What's going on? What can Sheyi Makinde do? What should Sheyi Makinde do? What should we do? What can Buhari do?